giving me this opportunity, because it is an opportunity. I also like to thank this church for your love and support for me and what I do. I'm not Pastor Scott. I preach differently, and that's what's nice about this thing. You get something different off the table. So I thank him for this. It's a privilege to stand before you and break the bread of life on this day. It is a privilege, one that I don't take lightly, and one that actually I'm afraid of. 31 years, and I still get fearful when I have to present the word to the people of God, because I pray and I ask that what I have to say to you will be a blessing to you. It will be food for your soul and give you something as you go through this week. Can we eat together? Can we eat together? It's one thing I learned about faith since I've been here. When it's time for food, a pitch-in, I call them a potluck, a cookout, a repast, there is food. Food galore. There's enough to feed, and then there's some to share. That, my friends, is what we're going to talk about today. Not food itself, but that concept that there's enough at the table for us to eat and to share with others. Can we eat? In the book of Luke, the 14th chapter, the 16th and 24th verse, Jesus replied, "A certain man was preparing a great banquet and invited many guests. At the time of the banquet, he sent his servant to tell those who had been invited, 'Come, for everything is now ready.' But they all alike began to make excuses. They first said, 'I have just bought a field and I must go and see it. Please excuse me.' Another said, 'I have just bought 5 yoke of oxen and I'm on my way to try them out. Please excuse me.' Still another said, 'I just got married, so I can come.' The servant came back and reported this to his master. Then the owner of the house became angry and ordered his servant, 'Go out quickly into the streets and alleys of the town and bring in the poor, the crippled, the blind, and the lame.' 'Sir,' the servant said, 'what you ordered has been done, but there is still room.' Then the master told his servant, 'Go out to the roads and country lanes and make them come in so that my house will be full. I tell you, not one of those men who were invited will get a taste of my banquet.'" In the traditional telling of this story, of this parable by Jesus, a feast is prepared. Folks are invited, and they are called the day of the event and told that things are now ready. Time to go eat. But the invitees beg off with various excuses, and the servant responsible for notifying the guests is sent deeper and deeper into the highways, hedges, streets, and lanes of the town to find any willing person to come to the feast. If I may be totally transparent, I have struggled with this interpretation that seems to imply that the other, or the Gentile, or the less fortunate, is welcome only as an afterthought. That they weren't first in line. They were afterthought. I have been rethinking this text, and I have a question. Have you ever thought that there had been a reason why nobody wanted to come to the feast? Can you imagine preparing a dinner and inviting a bunch of folk, getting a positive response from them, only to have them all decline the day of the supper? And then you do the work that's done here and set a table, and nobody shows up. Oh my God. Was the initial invitation made publicly, and the invitees did not have the heart to decline? You know, people today invite people to parties on Facebook. But what if you don't have Facebook? I guess you don't get to go. Was the food typically poor or unimaginative? You know, kind of gray and boring. Maybe we need to look again and see why it was so hard for the host to get these folks to come. It seems unlikely that everybody would come up with a lame excuse. Why is it that the only ones who took the messenger up on the invitation was clear across town, or of another class, or of another culture, or of another orientation? And he had to look hard to get any takers. And then the messenger had to plead with them to come. Where is the joy of the great feast that should have it irresistible? When someone we all know can show enough cook puts on a feast, we get offended if we are left out. I'm not bragging, but I can fry some corn. I'm a country boy. I can fry some corn. And I have people, when they hear that I fried corn, they say, "You fried corn?" I said, "Yes." "Well, where is it?" "Oh, well, I fried 10 ears. And I can't eat all that, so I packaged it up and I gave some to this one and this one and this. And you didn't give me any?" Yes, and when folks can show enough cook, you want to be a part of it. There's a story of an associate pastor being an extraordinary cook, and once when they had gone camping, and she was frying some catfish in an open-air cooking area. A European-American brother. She was black, he was European-American. Was around the same area participating in a wine and cheese tasting. The story goes that he kept looking over at them and smiling. Finally, his stomach took over the control of his feet, and he came and asked the pastor for some fish. When he tasted it, he swooned and told her that he'd been trying to get his wife to learn to cook fish like that, but she was not getting it. He wanted to know the recipe. She told him to go get some prepared fish fry mix because he couldn't do everything we could do. Sometimes we have to learn that I can give you my recipe. True story. I gave my macaroni and cheese recipe to a friend. And he said, "I'm going to make Uncle Chewee's macaroni and cheese." And he made it. And he said, "There's the whole thing in the garbage." He said, "Something was missing." I don't know what it was. And I asked him, I said, "Did you put love in it? When you were cooking, or was you fussing? And fussing because you had to do it." When I cook out of passion. Usually because I'm dead tired and I need to relax. And cooking relaxes me. And the tighter I get, the more stuff I make. So if one day you come to church and there's a little container in your seat, Linda, it's because I overcooked. Oh. When the fish was done, she did not have to beg the rest of them to come. The smell alone pulled from the whole campground with their plates, utensils, and stomachs ready. What was it about this feast? Maybe this cook was too exotic, too multicultural. Maybe this cook prepared food was not too much different to be comfort food for the folks on the invitation list. Try this on for size. Perhaps Jesus was referring to a feast before its time, a prophetic feast. Uncomfortable food offered to people who wanted to be comfortable. Guilty. I do not want to be uncomfortable. I want to be cushy and comfortable. I don't like change at work. When my boss calls me and says, "I need this report and I need it now," and I was doing something else, it tweaks me because now I got to switch gears and it makes me uncomfortable. But then you do the report and you get on back to what you got to do. So what was it about this feast? Jesus was referring to a feast before his time. Uncomfortable food. Food designed to appeal to everyone even before the masses were welcome to eat it. Imagine a discussion in the kitchen about how all people would be blessed by this feast without the commitment or the knowledge to get it out to the people who would benefit from it the most. Sometimes we cook, we put the invitation out, but the purpose, and we really don't push what it is we're doing. We don't advertise. Food not desired by the folks on the list, but the list has not changed and include the previously uninvited and unfamiliar dinner guests. There's nothing like a dinner party, and nobody knows one another. Especially if you're not creative. If you don't know how to do icebreakers to get people to know one another. It's all about knowing one another. Which is why when Pastor Scott came, we started with the name tag. No, that was under Pastor Curtis. We had name tags. I got a name tag. Okay, what's with the name tag? Why did I do that? Why did I do that? I know who I am. Yeah, but I don't know who you are. And sometimes things get a little slow. And I go, yeah, I know you, but what's your name? I have a friend who comes here, and he's not here now, so I'm going to tell him the truth. Uncle Larry. He doesn't remember names. And he drives for Indigo. And so when people get on the bus, he'll look at them and he knows who they are. And he go, hi, child. Hey, baby. That's when you don't know folks' names. That's a Southern thing. In the South, hi, girl, hi, baby. Mm-hmm. So this happens. This whole situation is like amassing resources to do justice work without the faith to release those resources or having skills to assess the problem among people on the margin. We have a tendency to want to solve a problem from our perspective and not the perspective of the person with the problem. It's not our problem. So we have a tendency to want to fix it according to what we know, instead of hearing what the other knows. When I cook, I'll ask, do you have any allergies? What don't you like? If you're a vegetarian, I want to make sure I get some portobello mushrooms and saute them and some lovely stuff so you can have a portobello mushroom burger while the rest of us feast on whatever else I cook. That is what this lesson is about today. Many folks don't like new stuff. New church or new worship. We get concerned when certain words are connected to worship and church. Words like awe and wonder, risk, unpredictability, lost control, and Holy Ghost fire. We like things to go according to the bulletin. But in my past, I've gone to churches that they have it all outlined, the liturgy and everything else, and at the bottom, program subject to change by the unction of the Holy Spirit. Because when the Spirit of God comes in, things change. You need to be open to the change and the wind that is blowing. What can make the feast welcoming to those who may not want to attend because they are weary of it? There are people in this area who are weary of church. They've been church hurt. What can we do, Faith, to make this place welcome so that they know that this is a place that will love on them and be concerned about them? What can we do? Those who find the new fare too exotic and those who have not been traditionally welcome. What about a feast of reconciliation? A feast where everyone is invited and where several kinds of food are made available. Isn't that something? I believe the table of God must be a welcome table where liberal and conservative theologies can coexist and be heard. My grandmother used to think that every day should close with us eating together. No matter what our day was like, no matter what we were mad at each other about, we had to eat together. God's table, Jesus' table, should look like that. It would be wonderful. It would be a wonderful thing to behold, especially for me and folks like me who represent and consistently and constantly interact with people on the margins of many groups. I cling to a strong Christology, and I love good gospel music. On occasion, I have been known to speak in tongues, and I have a personal relationship with Jesus, where I also believe in an educated clergy, the spiritual gifts, prophecy, faith healing, visions, signs, and wonders. I also believe in a woman's right to choose and full rights for same gender-loving people to marry and raise children and just be. Remember, we are human beings. We just want to be. All of us. I'm a Pentecostal traditionalist and a reconciling liberation theologian. It's like being a chicken burrito with capers. I am a myriad of things, so many things at one time. But I have a place at the feast of God. You can't keep me out because it ain't your party. It's Jesus' party. And we are all here by his invitation. Here's the challenge. We are clear about what we disagree about. I mean, we can pick something we disagree about. Just pick something out the air. But what about a table where we seek to find our intersections? Because even though we may have disagreements, there are places where we intersect and we agree. How about not an either or table, but a both and table? What can be great civil rights and human rights movement together? What can be that together? Remember, any war is a civil war if we truly one family of God. It doesn't have to be that way. We can do justice and love and worship God. Here's our great statement to the world about the great feast of God. All people, those in town, those on the highways, those on the hedges, those who are African, Native American, Asian, Latin, Irish, French, German, Dutch, Italian, Polynesian, Arab, Jew, Roma, Russian, Polish, English, Swedish, Norse, Turkish, Slavic, Danish, straight, gay, trans, bi, queer, intersex, rich, poor, Republican, Democrat, independent, Green Party, tall, short, thin, fat, Christian, Jew, Muslim, Buddhist, Yoruba, young, old, disabled. Can you imagine coming in here and seeing that in here? What a glorious, I'd probably be backflips. What a glorious thing that would be. All are welcome. What a great feast it would be. Imagine us humbly, hospitably, waiting for one another like Paul instructed the Corinthians at their celebration of the supper of remembrance. I dance, you dance. Come on, everybody. Come on, Linda Norrington, let's do this. I dance, you dance. You don't want to dance? How about I eat, you eat? One of my philosophies I've done is like, if I ask you to go somewhere with me, I say, I'm going out of town. I want you to go with me. Well, you know, I don't have any money. I didn't ask you for money. I asked you to accompany me. And when I sleep, you're going to sleep. And when I eat, you're going to eat. I just want somebody to talk to while I'm in the car, so I have to make this dog drive by myself and have somebody with me. That is what this is about. When I eat, you eat. Get ready. God, Faith United Church Christ, God is doing a new thing. Don't miss it. For there is something at the table for you. God is still speaking. All of the words of this great invitation cannot be contained between the pages of a book. We've gotten into a mindset that the Bible is all there is. And God is not speaking. But thank God for the vision of the UCC. that said God is still speaking. I used to tell people all the time, well, if everything that God wanted us to know is in that book, which was put together by man, that's another sermon, which was put together by man, if all the words that God had to say are in there, then why is it that you're so hungry to hear a prophetic word? Where is the prophetic word coming from? From God? Oh, then that means God is still speaking. Yeah. It has been quiet. We've been not listening. People say, oh, God has shut up the heavens and nothing. No. We just have to center ourselves and get with the program. God is still speaking. God is still speaking. We, all of us, are the demonstration of the invitation. Look around. We're probably a bunch of people who would never socialize outside of these doors. But then we come here. I lived in Indianapolis, 4 years, maybe 3 years before I found faith, United Church of Christ. And I've been in Indianapolis all that time, and I never saw any out there. But what a blessing when I came through the doors and I saw you and you and you and you. But I had to be open to do it. And if I may be transparent, that wasn't easy. I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to come. I didn't want to get to know new people. And by golly, I'm here to tell you today, I am so glad I did. And I wouldn't trade my faith, United Church of Christ life, for anything. Because you all exemplify what Christ is about. I just said it. You are the demonstration of the invitation. So as we get ready to go home, I'm done. I want you to take this with you to your friends, your family, the person you don't know, and you just meet them. Come over here to 4040 East Thompson Road. Come over here to Faith United Church of Christ. Come over here where Pastor Scott Simmons is teaching about servant leadership. Come over here where we're doing the work of God. Come over here where love is exemplified. Come over here where we care for one another and we embrace one another. Come over here where the table is spread. Come over here. The feast of the Lord is going on. God bless you.